So, for those of you outside my online circle of people that I'll never ever meet in public, you may have seen the topic of artificial intelligence crop up in recent conversation. It's a particularly hot button issue within the creative industry, because while the cartoon, anime, and VTuber communities typically despise one another, the one thing they can unanimously agree on is that, more than they hate each other, they hate tech bros even more. Now, the history of AI and its tumultuous relationship with consumers has been well documented for decades. In the 1950s, human beings realized that they needed a commercial product that could quickly heat up their leftovers with a push of a button, so they made free-thinking robots to cook all their meals for them. Years later, the air fryer made that technology obsolete, and the AI became a legacy term that we were basically just too lazy to retire. But much like my hopes for an intimate relationship, AI returned with an unexpected vengeance. Chances are, you've already experienced AI in ways that you may never have even realized. Many of the tools that you use every day, like your best friend's Max account and your ex-boyfriend's Netflix account, as well as their shared Hulu account, use an AI-based algorithm to recommend which K-dramas to ignore. Eventually, artificial intelligence found its way into the public market. No longer relegated to the world of data analytics, e-commerce metrics, and other shit you don't care about, AI became the one entity that can generate millions of dollars in revenue without ever lifting a finger. It became a content creator. Yes sir, with its 2 extra fingers and uncanny ability to talk in circles, the AI popped out of God knows where and started producing content at a speed that would make Jeff Bezos come on sight. Now, the possibilities are truly limitless when it comes to AI generation. For one, if you want a picture of a caked up Squidward getting it on with Pinkie Pie, but you can't find an artist willing to sacrifice their integrity to make it, you can do it yourself. If you're plagued with mental health issues and you're unable to afford therapy, just chat up the Jason Bateman bot on character.ai. The addiction treatment will be less costly in comparison. And if you want to hear Tara Strong scream a bunch of swear words in the voice of Bubbles, actually, you could just watch Drawn Together for that one.
You son of bitches!
Now, as I'm sure you can imagine, this type of on-demand content creation is riddled with ethical complications. Not that it should come to anybody's surprise, of course. Stories about the rampant misuse of AI and our eventual downfall at the hands of our robot overlords have been a staple ever since Will Smith proved how great he was at playing Keanu Reeves. AI generation is just the natural next step of all that. Just, you know, a lot more boring. Now, when I first caught wind that artificial intelligence was being used to expedite the creative process, I expected to see something really cool, like a biotapestry retelling of the Battle of Stalingrad, or maybe an epic novel about how I know absolutely nothing about world history. Instead, we got things like Frank Sinatra covers, or generic anime girl with the extra finger, and not even in a funny way, bro. Like, not sure how many people realize this, but if you want to see SpongeBob and Patrick talk about using Shugite to block the frequencies, or see 2 royal dudes melt like the Wizard of Ozwitch, there are easier and less expensive ways to castrate yourself. It's like when you open your fridge and you find this block of cheese with a single spot of green fuzz on it. Sure, it mostly looks okay at first glance, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that would just cut that section off or just eat around it, but me, I'm just too self-conscious about that shit, man. I gotta trash the whole thing. But you know, maybe I'm not being generous enough. As someone whose favorite character out of One Piece is the guy with the donut lips, I really am in no position to be criticizing anybody's taste. So, let's just say, for the sake of discussion, that AI supporters and AI detractors are actually fighting over something of legitimate value instead of literal dog shit. Who is in the right here? The creatives argued that AI undermines their artistic process, violates intellectual property laws, and compromises the integrity of their careers, whereas the stakeholders will argue back that who the fuck cares? All solid points on both sides of this equation. But if for some reason you want my honest opinion as to whether the use of AI is morally justified, I believe the most apt comparison that I can possibly make to AI-generated content is corn. Yes, corn. Short for cornography, as it were. Almost all of us have heard of it, most all of us have tasted it, and while corn addiction is a concerning endemic in its own right, the vast majority of people are very responsible with their corn consumption. Now, as we all know, corn comes in a number of varieties. Sweet corn, chubby corn, Asian corn, mature corn. There's a corn category for everyone. Except baby corn. I draw the line at baby corn. The corn making industry has been alive and well as one of humanity's oldest professions, and in theory, it's a commodity that only licensed professionals could grow, distribute, and turn a profit from. Now, do consumers actually buy corn?
Absolutely fucking not.
Y'all know as well as I do that corn is a ubiquitous, always in demand product that you can easily find being distributed on the free market. Go to any cornographic website, search for hot buttered corn, and bada boom! Free mediocre corn right at your fingertips. It's not legal, it's not particularly righteous, and it significantly undercuts all the good, honest corn producers trying to make an earnest living, but of course, you don't care. So long as you got that freshly ripe nubile cob in your hands, that's all that really matters, isn't it? If anything, AI generation is what happens when you taste smoky cheddar popcorn for the first time and you suddenly realize it should be a human right. Corn is literally free food, and it's still not free enough. Screw your free content. I'll just auto-generate some canned corn right here on my stovetop. Sure, it smells a little sour, and you might get the occasional mouse tail in there, but hey, if I can stomach it, then I'm not gonna sweat the difference between what's real and what's fake. And like, we're not naive, man. Anybody who produces anything these days knows that people are gonna infringe their content for their own personal use, okay? We all know the game we signed up for. So go ahead, draw your fan art, write your fanfics, make your AI-generated content about a Vaporeon getting tickled tortured by Nicolas Cage. It ain't wholesome, and by some interpretations, it ain't legal either. But hey, what you guys do in the comfort of your own home is none of my business. And I cannot stress that enough. The second you make it somebody else's business, you kind of forfeit any right to complain. Producing your own corn is one thing, it's another thing entirely to prop up a food stand in front of a Costco wholesale and openly sell that Del Monte crap. You see, corn as a consumer product is made to be appreciated as a solo activity, and maybe with your neighbors if you're a weirdo like that. But you don't just go outside and start waving your corn cobs smothered in warm milk for the whole world to see, you know? That's just basic etiquette. In other words, if you knowingly post a dubiously illegal video on YouTube featuring a so-and-so anime singer fake covering a song from Imagine Dragons, don't be surprised if that anime singer gets mad at you for having shit taste. The 2 or 3 people I know on social media who beef about AI only beef with those who either distribute the stuff or condemn the stuff, but I've never actually seen them beef with people who consume the stuff. So clearly, my personal experience is reflective of the entire AI culture war. As such, my word is law, and according to the Council of Animation Fans who aren't animators, I hereby decree that AI should only be used for shitposts and terrible corn metaphors. The penalty for generating and distributing AI outside of this purpose will be the immediate cancellation of their Twitter handle on the grounds of mishandling dangerous entities without proper clearance and subsequently collapsing over their own hubris. This charge, colloquially known as the fucking around and finding out violation, is irrevocable, and the prosecuted will be given an additional 2-year sentence for every instance they fail to realize when a YouTuber is just making a stupid joke and should not be taken seriously in any ethical or legal context. Long live the AI. Yeah, y'all can see the hoops I jumped through to not have this video demonetized, right? I don't know why I make things harder for myself, man. Like, whenever I try to explain something, my head immediately goes straight to the thing that would kill off my channel in a heartbeat. That said, if you like seeing me play chicken with the YouTube community guidelines, then I'd really appreciate you guys throwing me $1 or $3 to my Patreon so I can keep the lights up following my inevitable demise. But if $1 whole a month is still too expensive for you, then hitting me up with that like, comment, and subscribe trifecta would also be very appreciated. Until then, stay tuned.